I'm gonna be controversial. Like actually. Like I'm gonna actually be controversial. Can you believe it? I know I just am usually. But I'm gonna actually say something that goes against the grain, not just of gaming, but of non-gaming stuff too. We're talking about outlier theory today. If you've never heard of the concept of the outlier theory, it's a YouTube theory. Essentially, the idea is that in order to succeed on YouTube, wait, did I press record? I'm a professional. I'm actually gonna cut that because I think it'll be funny. Anyways, the point of outlier theory is that in order to be successful at YouTube, all you have to do, this is all you have to do, bruv. You just go and you find a video that is doing way better than all the other videos within the niche that you'd like to make a video in. And then you copy it. You copy the format, you copy the style, you copy the content. The only thing you don't copy is directly copying the writing, and you don't use their footage probably. And the way this is sold to everybody is you'll get hundreds of thousands of views immediately, overnight. I know 5 people who did this, and their channels blew up. Also, coincidentally, they're in my YouTube Academy program. Isn't that crazy? Do you want to make sure you do it right? You should probably sign up to this YouTube Creator Academy. Hopefully you're connecting those 2 dots. But if you're not, I'll spell it out for you. The outlier theory does not work. Or maybe it works, but it doesn't work for you. And it's certainly not going to work for me. And I think it's worth talking about, especially because there's a connection that I can draw between the outlier theory and how people have tried to use that in gaming in the industry over the years. Because I've been around for a while, and I've seen games get so big that they've spawned copycats. Not just competitors, but copycats. And when that happens, those copycats almost always fail. Almost always. And I can't look at all these people advertising this outlier theory thing like it's some magic overnight solution to your problem when it's not. It's just guiding you down a dumb path of wasting your time and probably your money. And we can actually look at data from other times this has been attempted to prove why that does not work. Okay, so the first point here is that copying the big thing is not tried and it's not true. Our case example here is going to be Modern Warfare 2. See, this game was massive. This game was massive when it released. It was anything like anything else before. Even Call of Duty 4 was not nearly as successful as Modern Warfare 2 was. And it wasn't just that it was good and it was well received and there was lots of players. I mean, it was covered everywhere. There was news. It was spawning YouTube channels left and right. There were YouTube channels just doing commentary over Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, and people just liked Modern Warfare 2 enough to just watch that because it was good commentary and it was fun to just watch the gameplay. Totally different landscape than what we have today. And man, Modern Warfare 2, because it was so successful and because it made so much money, there were a couple of fun things that happened. Naturally, if you've never heard the story of Activision essentially denying the bonus to the original Infinity Ward team, thus causing Vince Zampella and I'm blanking on I knew his name. I rehearsed this. The leadership, causing the leadership to jump ship and most of the team as well. It was huge. So naturally, there were people who wanted to get a cut of that pie. So what do? Well, they copy. We had Medal of Honor 2010, which I think is the most egregious example of being a copycat that did not pay off at all. Medal of Honor was a World War II focused game that nobody cared about anymore because they only made World War II games. And so rather than looking at what Call of Duty did, which was make the big shift on COD 4 to modern combat and try anything different than World War II, they said, okay, we got it. This is the outlier, right? Modern Warfare 2 is the outlier. We just have to do what they're doing. But we change it a little bit to make it ours. And we'll be really successful. How do you think that went? Because you've probably not heard of Medal of Honor 2010. Or if you have, you know what happened, which is essentially the game flopped big time. The game flopped more than I think anybody even expected it to flop. Because don't get me wrong, I always welcome competitors. I think competition is good for the market, right? I think it's good to have multiple things trying to do the same thing, but trying to be better at it. Medal of Honor was not trying to be better at it, and it didn't have the ability to. We also had Homefront, we had Operation Flashpoint. These are games that were really trying to capture the spirit of Modern Warfare, and they just couldn't do it. Because what they didn't understand is everybody already had Modern Warfare 2. Just like with YouTube, everybody already has Mr. Beast. He's already there. They can already watch his videos. So in order for this to be successful, why would you try to retread the same ground that they did, right? Medal of Honor 2010 didn't work because they looked at Call of Duty and said, okay, well, we're just gonna do what they do. But nobody cares because we already did that. We already played those games. You're not offering anything new. You're just retreading old ground. So just copying the Outlier in this case only sets you back. If you really, really, really want to see how to actually make this work for yourself, you need to look at the things that took the idea and twisted it to make something different, like Battlefield. And yes, I know Battlefield was around before Call of Duty, and I know Battlefield was doing all this before Call of Duty, but let's be honest here, Battlefield 3 and 4 really were poised to be competitors to Call of Duty. This is when they realized that Call of Duty was the biggest competitor in the space. This is when the big rivalry broke out. So Call of Duty and Battlefield have one major difference, which is large-scale combat and vehicular combat. I guess that's two differences. Battlefield made those things its own. So I have a reason to play Battlefield just like I have a reason to play Call of Duty. Crisis 2 and 3 are great examples because those did have online components to their games that were very Call of Duty feeling, but you're playing in a super suit, you know? So that's a cool twist, right? Spec Ops The Line said, hey, what if we use the same setting, but we like really actually genuinely explore the horrors of war instead of, you know, propagandizing it like Call of Duty does. And we never stop talking about it. The only way it doesn't work is when you just don't change anything, which is what a lot of these YouTube gurus tend to recommend, is they say, just copy it and change some things. Copy it and make your own script. But you're not really getting it then. You're not really twisting anything. You're just doing the same thing again, which is not going to be successful. And another reason why you're not going to be successful by trying to follow this is you also don't have the skills. Again, we mentioned Modern Warfare 2, a lot of its success came from its leadership, Jason West and Vince Zampella. Oh, finally, I got it. As well as the rest of the team, right? They had already made Call of Duty 4 and Call of Duty 2. They already had those games under their belt. Those games are widely loved, widely regarded. So of course, when they made Modern Warfare 2, they had already done bigger games like this. They knew what to build on and they knew what worked and what didn't. And by just copying someone else's framework, copying their work without understanding their workflow, their structure, without having the skills to really make that work, all you're gonna do is spend a bunch of time and probably money trying to copy a video that is gonna go nowhere because you don't know what you're doing. You're not building those foundational skills. You're not really building the ideas of how do I actually format my thoughts from my brain, my noggin, and actually get them on the paper and actually get them to the camera. And how do I understand what to edit and what not to edit? How do I understand when I should cut and when I shouldn't cut? You're not gonna get these things because you're not following someone else's workflow as well, right? And there's something to be said. I think it could be really cool for someone to say, I will teach you how to make a good YouTube video if you copy the way that I edit this thing, but that's really more of like a lesson, right? That's something you would get in like an AV class. That's not really something that I would ever employ in the field as an attempt to actually make content and actually say something. That's not gonna work, right? So just like our Mr. Beast analogy from earlier, copying his ideas is not going to work because you don't have his understanding of the platform after so many years. You don't have his connections. You don't have his ad sponsors. You're probably not full-time, so you don't have the time of day. And you definitely don't have a team full of editors because editing is difficult. Why do you think I don't edit these videos very much? And why do you think they come out so fast? You trade one thing for another. When you don't actually have those skills set because you're not actually doing the work that builds those skills, all you're doing is hurting yourself, and all you're doing is constantly creating videos that will never break the view count you want because you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. And you don't understand how you, as you, are actually contributing to the thing you're talking about, right? Yes, everybody's talked about Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 1, they've all talked about these games to death, right? So my challenge is, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna bring to this table that makes it worth listening to me? And it doesn't have to be something grand or new, but I do have to be able to talk about it. I have to be able to talk about it coherently and to be able to get my thoughts out there, because otherwise I'm just gonna be like, you know? And this is why the Dark Souls 2 video that I talked about the other day did turn out so bad, because I didn't have that experience, right? And that was a necessary stepping stone in my experience. Had I not had that, and had I just tried to copy like a Noah Caldwell Dravai video where he goes on for 9 hours about Dark Souls, it's impressive, I'm not gonna do well. Because Noah Caldwell Dravai is a writer. And he's been writing for a long time. And I don't have that. I don't have that, especially not for YouTube, right? So you have to work on it, and you have to create your ideas and work on them. And if you genuinely think that it's so hard, you're like, I just can't think of anything at all, that you turn to copying, or God forbid you turn to AI for your ideas, then you need to quit. Because you are your own limiter, okay? If you sit there and you think, I can't be the guy that comes up with his own ideas, then you just need to quit. You're not cut out for YouTube, okay? Because the only long-term path that I can see in this whole game, and I haven't been doing it for that long, but just from the amount of videos that I've made in the last couple of weeks and the amount of things that I've seen and listened to and read, the only long-term path is to just keep doing it and just keep trying. And if you can't keep trying, then you're not gonna make it. You're just not, okay? And you don't have to limit yourself by not trying, but copying other videos is not gonna get you there, because you're not training yourself on how to think creatively. The other obstacle you're gonna run into with all this, and I hate to say it, it's certainly true for me. Wake up. You don't have a name to yourself. I don't have a name to myself. Yes, I do have videos with a couple thousand views. I have some that are even almost up to 20,000. Nobody knows who I am. Genuinely nobody knows who I am. Even in my day job, calling it a day job is kind of generous. It's kind of a all-day job. Even in my real life job, where I would say I'm fairly successful, people don't know who I am, you know? And you have a really large uphill battle to fight with that. And this is, again, Infinity Ward was able to break through with Modern Warfare 2 to the level of success that they did because they had COD 4 and because they had COD 2 and the original Call of Duty. And before that, they worked on the first Medal of Honor. There's trajectory there, right? And they didn't start by just looking at other World War II games and saying, okay, just do that. They started in the ringer. They started with the creative process, which sometimes is terrible. And sometimes it's you taking this drumstick and hitting yourself in the head with it for 4 months, right? It's tough. That's the point. That's why it's a job. Like, that's why creatives want to be paid, because to actually create something is difficult. And it's even more difficult when you really, really, really work hard on something and it flops because nobody knows who you are and they don't know why they should care about you. Because that's my case, right? Like, nobody knows who Pause is. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows, like, I haven't been around that long. I haven't really talked with any of the bigger people in the space. I would love to at some point. I would love to meet Scott the Woz. Can anyone make that happen? Can anyone hook me up with Scott the Woz? Please? And eventually that will change. But there is no point in you hurting yourself, trying to recreate videos with a slightly different twist that will go nowhere because nobody cares about you. And you can try to make them care, but ultimately your uphill battle will always be that your name needs to be around long enough for people to care about what you have to say. And the only way for people to care about what you have to say is for you to be able to say it, which means that if you, are you tired of that yet? Me too. Can't coherently make your thoughts and can't coherently make your own videos and make them for you, you're not gonna make it on YouTube. And this is why I have a problem with Outlier theory. So just like Medal of Honor 2010, all you really stand to do is lose when you try to apply Outlier theory to basic things, right? It's tough, it is. It really, really is. And certainly there's something to be said about being able to look at a different niche and see what they do and then take that idea and twist it to yours. But there's that word again, there's that twist, right? And overall, the biggest thing, the number one thing that I think everybody can agree on is the reason why people come back to YouTube channels is because of the you, right? I'm a little bit over 400 subscribers at the time of recording this, and it's really cool because it's a warm audience, right? It's people who know me. People who know what I do and they know what I say and they like what I say, even if they don't agree with all of it. They like the style that I'm presenting. They like seeing me evolve and grow. And you don't get that right off the rip. It takes time. It takes time for people to organically trust you and to trust that you're going to deliver on something that they want to hear, that's going to change the way that they think, that's going to actually impact their day. And another Fortnite video about control settings is not going to do it, you know? And I think the only time that anybody should really follow that advice is if they are trying to quit really fast, because that's all you're gonna do, right? Obviously, there's a lot more nuance to this than that. I'm not a YouTube guru. I haven't been doing this that long. I don't have any results to prove, so I can't even say I'm an authority. This is just a connection that I made, something that I think, and something that I think you can benefit from hearing, especially if you're like me, you're a small creator and you're really trying to just get good at this because you like being good at things. Doing the outlier thing doesn't really work. You need to be you, and you need to be authentic. You need to create the content that you can create. You need to do the thing that only you can do. Be the you in YouTube. What do you think? Am I off base? Am I wrong? Is there data that proves I'm wrong? Hope not. We don't use data on this channel. We're all vibes. This is day 21. We had day 21, 3 weeks of constant uploads every single day. This one felt cool because this is a thought that I had on a walk a couple of weeks ago. And I'm glad I thought to record it so I could listen back and like kind of hear my thought process. Because this is something I believe, right? There's been a lot for me in trying to find out how to successfully navigate the YouTube landscape. And the only consistent thing I could ever find is that you should just be doing it a lot. So that's what I'm doing. So if I can help anybody, even at this small stage, then I should try, right? Thanks for watching. The best thing you can do to support me, watch my playlist of the other videos. I'll see you tomorrow.